Stepping into the week is not the same as falling into it. Most Mondays are not entered. They are fallen into. The alarm goes off. The inbox asserts itself. The calendar presents its obligations. The momentum of a world that does not pause for the person to find their footing carries them forward before they have chosen the direction they are moving in. And by the time the day is an hour old, the week has already set the interior, rather than the interior setting the posture for the week. Stepping is different. Stepping requires a moment before the movement, a deliberate choice of direction, a grounded position from which the first movement is made intentionally rather than reactively. And that moment, the pause before the step, is what this prayer is for. This is Monday, April 20th, April. And before this week has taken a single step on your behalf, before the inbox and the calendar and the obligations and the people and the unexpected things have had a single chance to set the interior, you came here to step rather than fall, to choose the direction before the week chooses it for you. The difference between those two entries into the same Monday is not the week's contents. It is the position from which the week is met. His word declares in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, that the Lord commands strength and courage. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go, not wherever the week allows you to feel his presence, wherever, the meeting that is not yet scheduled, the conversation that has not yet formed, the unexpected thing that will arrive without announcing itself, wherever. He is already there. Before the person stepping into the week has taken the first step, God is already at every destination the week will produce. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. Write it as the chosen direction before the week has offered its alternative. Because the step taken toward God before Monday begins orients everything that follows in a way that cannot be replicated once the Monday momentum has taken over. Like this video as an act of choosing the deliberate step over the fall. Subscribe to this channel so we can begin every week together before the Monday has had a chance to set the pace without input from the one who knows what the week actually requires. And share this prayer with someone who starts every Monday already reactive. What you send might be the moment before the step they did not know was available. Now let us step together before the week has moved. Lord, my God and my Father, I come before you on this Monday morning, and I make the choice that most Monday mornings do not begin with. I stop before I start. I pause before I move. I bring the week that has not yet begun to the God who is already in it, and I ask to be led into it rather than carried by it. Not carried by the inbox. Not carried by the calendar. Not carried by the momentum of a world that moves fast and does not wait for the person to decide what direction they are moving in. Led by you from here into the week that begins when this prayer ends. Your word declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 17, that the Lord your God teaches you what is best for you and directs you in the way you should go. Teaches, directs, both active, both personal. The teaching is not delivered to a classroom of generic recipients. It is the instruction given to this specific person for this specific week. The directing is not the general indication of a broad direction. It is the leading of a shepherd who knows every step of the path before the sheep takes it, teaches you what is best for you, directs you in the way you should go. Before you have taken a single step into Monday, that teaching is available right now. That directing is active right now. The prayer is the positioning that receives it. Father, I want to be honest about what the unled Monday produces by the middle of the week. By Wednesday, the person who entered Monday without being led by God is usually being led by something else. The most pressing thing, the loudest voice, the crisis that arrived and displaced whatever was planned. the reactive response to whatever the week decided mattered most, rather than the deliberate movement toward what actually does. Not because the person is careless, because the week is relentless and direction requires maintenance. The compass that was pointed toward God on Sunday night, if not returned to and checked and reoriented on Monday morning, has been moved by Tuesday afternoon. The week moves things. It always does. The inbox exerts its magnetic pull. The urgent thing displaces the important thing. The loud thing claims the attention that the quiet thing deserved. And the person who does not maintain the direction finds themselves somewhere they did not intend to be by the time Wednesday reveals where the week has taken them. The lead Monday is the resistance to that drift, not a dramatic resistance. The single deliberate act of checking the compass in the morning before the week's magnetic pull begins to work on it. The prayer that sets the direction before the day can redirect it. Your word declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, that in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. The establishing is His. The planning is human. Both are present in a well-lived week. The person plans, the Lord establishes, and the establishing requires the orientation toward the Lord that makes the establishing possible. The steps that God establishes are the steps of the person who has planned their course in God's presence rather than in isolation from it. Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. And Father, I want to ask for something that the led mind specifically does in the first hour of this Monday that changes the quality of the entire day. I want to ask for the grace to begin slowly, not lazily, slowly, with the deliberate pace of a person who knows where they are going, rather than the frantic pace of a person who is not sure and is compensating for the uncertainty with speed. The frantic Monday morning produces a frantic Monday. The speed that was meant to cover the uncertainty generates more uncertainty because the fast decisions have less information behind them. The rushed interaction sets a tone that is hard to recover from in the next conversation. The reactive response to the first thing that demands attention trains the interior to be reactive to everything that follows. The first hour of Monday has a disproportionate influence on the rest of it. The led mind begins the first hour differently, not faster, with more intention. The first response given from a position of clarity rather than from the first available reaction. The first conversation entered with the genuine attention that slow beginnings preserve. The first decision made with the question that the led mind asks, what does this actually require, rather than what is it demanding right now? Your word declares in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 8, that the end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Patience is better. The patient beginning that sets the right direction outperforms the proud beginning that moves fast in the wrong one. Let me begin with patience today, Lord. Not the impatience of a Monday that moves immediately. The patience of a person who is led rather than driven. The ability to distinguish between what the week is demanding and what the week actually needs. Because those two things are rarely identical. The week demands many things. Most of them arrive with urgency. Some of them matter in ways proportional to their urgency. Many of them do not. And the person without discernment responds to the urgency rather than to the importance, spends the week on what was loudest rather than what was significant, and arrives at Friday having been very busy with the wrong things. The led mind asks different questions at each junction. Not only what is this asking me to do, but what does this actually require? Not only what is urgent, but what is important. Not only what is demanding my attention, but what deserves it. Those questions require the perspective that the LED mind carries from the morning prayer into the day's demands. The perspective that is not located inside the urgency, but above it, where the distinction between urgent and important is visible. Lord, I want to pray now about the clarity this week specifically requires. Clarity is not the absence of difficulty. It is the ability to see through the difficulty to what is actually there, what the situation actually requires, what the relationship actually needs, what the decision is actually about beneath the surface of the competing pressures. The clarity that the LED mind carries is not the clarity of someone who sees only the easy things. It is the clarity of someone who sees the difficult things accurately, rather than through the distorting lens of anxiety. This week will have things in it that look more complicated than they are, and things that look simpler than they are. The mind that is running on its own anxiety will misread both. The complicated things will be catastrophized. The simple things will be dismissed before they have revealed their actual significance. And the week navigated by that misreading produces outcomes that a clearer view would have avoided. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 36, verse 9, that in your light we see light. The clarity the lead mind carries is not self-generated. It is received in God's light by seeing through the lens of his perspective rather than through the lens of the week's accumulated pressure. And the person who has been in God's presence in the morning prayer carries something of that light into the day's situations. Not perfect vision, but truer vision than the week's noise provides. Let me see truly this week, Lord. Not just efficiently, not just successfully, truly, what is actually happening in the conversations. What the person in front of me actually needs rather than what they are asking for. What the decision is actually about rather than what the pressure is presenting it as. The true thing, seen in your light. Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. And Father, I want to ask for the clarity to know what this week is for, because weeks have purposes beyond their agendas. The specific configuration of this Monday through Friday, the people in it, and the situations it contains, and the challenges it will produce, is not random. It is the specific set of circumstances in which the person living it is being formed into something. The patience being built in the difficult relationship, the faith being deepened in the unresolved situation, the character being shaped in the demanding week. The week is not only about what it produces externally, it is about what it produces internally. The clarity about what the week is for changes how its contents are received. The difficulty is not only a problem to be solved, it is also a formation to be received. The demanding person is not only an obstacle to navigate, they are also an opportunity for the kind of love that only difficult people require. The unresolved situation is not only an anxiety to manage, it is also the terrain on which trust is being built. Let me receive this week with that clarity, Lord. Not only managing what it produces, being formed by what it contains. Father, I want to ask now for the specific strength this week requires, not the dramatic strength of a person bracing for catastrophe, the steady, sustained, day in, day out strength of a person who keeps showing up, who keeps being present when presence is costly, who keeps extending what the depleted reserves barely cover, who keeps making the good decision when the easy one is available, who keeps being faithful to the small things that accumulate into the large shape of a life lived well. That is the strength most weeks actually require, not the heroic single moment, the consistent presence across many ordinary moments. And that kind of strength is not generated by the person through discipline alone. It is received from the God who does not run out of what he gives. Your word declares in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13, that I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Through him. The strength is not located in the person. It is received through the connection to the one who provides it. And the connection is maintained by the returning, the morning prayer, the midday breath, The deliberate turning toward God when the afternoon has made the day's demands visible and the morning's reserves have been partially spent. Keep me connected this week, Lord, not just this morning. Through the Monday that gets harder after noon, through the Tuesday that arrives without the momentum this Monday has, through the midweek point where the fresh start feeling has entirely dissipated and the week is simply what it is, with all its ordinary and difficult contents. Through all of it, connected, receiving, strengthened from outside rather than generating from within. And Father, I want to ask for the strength that is specific to one area where Monday's strength is most needed and least visible. The strength to be kind when the week's first demands arrive before the kindness reserves have been replenished. Because Monday morning brings people alongside it, the first conversation of the week sets a tone for the relationship that will carry through the next 5 days. The first interaction with a family member, the first exchange with a colleague, the first response to the message that arrives before the person was ready. Those first interactions happen from whatever quality of interior the person is carrying when they occur. And kindness, offered from a depleted reserve on a Monday morning that has not yet been to God, is thinner than kindness that has been offered from this prayer first. Your word declares in the book of Colossians chapter 3 verse 12 to clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Clothe. That is something put on deliberately before going out into the day. Not something generated in the moment of its need. The clothing happens in the morning, before the day, before the first interaction, in the prayer that prepares the interior before the exterior makes its demands. Let me be clothed today, Lord, in what only this hour with you can put on before Monday takes it off. Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. Father, as this prayer closes, I want to receive something I will carry into every day this week produces. A posture, not a plan. Plans change. A posture holds through the changing. The posture is this: open hands. The person with open hands is not gripping the week. They are not holding the outcomes so tightly that when the week changes the outcomes, the person breaks with the changing. They are not holding the agenda so rigidly that when the week redirects the agenda, the person resists the redirection with more energy than the original agenda deserved. Open hands, holding the week's contents loosely enough that when the God who knows better moves something, the movement is received rather than resisted. Open hands also means receptive, ready to receive what the week offers that was not on the plan. The unexpected grace, the unscheduled moment of genuine connection, the redirection that turns out to be better than the original direction, the provision that arrives from a direction that was not anticipated. Open hands receive all of that. Closed hands miss it. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 31, verse 15, that my times are in your hands. My times, the schedule, the pace, the sequence, the weeks, all of it in your hands. And the person whose hands are open toward the God who holds their times is the person who moves through the week with the specific quality of trust that open hands produce, not controlling, receiving, not gripping, being led. Lead me this week, Lord, with clarity and strength into every day the week produces before it has told me what it contains, step by step, the lamp lighting the next foot and then the one after that. The shepherd going before into every room before the person arrives. The everlasting arms underneath everything the week places on the one who stepped into it from this Monday morning prayer. And I want to ask for something that open hands make possible in a specific way that closed hands never can. Gratitude. Because the person gripping the week, holding the outcomes tightly, controlling the agenda as fully as possible, cannot receive what the week gives as a gift. Everything the week produces is evaluated according to whether it delivered what was expected. If it did, barely enough relief. If it did not, the disappointment of expectations unmet. The person with open hands receives the week differently. The unexpected good thing is received as the gift it is, not measured against the planned good thing it displaced. The provision that arrived in an unexpected form is recognized as provision rather than as the plan not working. The moment of grace that came sideways rather than through the anticipated channel is received because the hands were open enough to catch it. Your word declares in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 17, that every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights. Every good gift from above, coming down to the person positioned to receive it, the open-handed person, the one who has not pre-decided exactly what form the goodness should take, who is watching for what comes down rather than managing what rises up. Let me receive this week's gifts, Lord, the expected ones and the unexpected ones, the obvious graces and the ones that arrive in the form of things I would not have chosen. Open hands, ready to receive what you are giving before the week has finished giving it. And I want to close with something about the end of this week, not what it will produce in the external world, what it will have done in the person living it. Because 5 days from now on a Friday morning, the person who stepped into Monday from this prayer will be standing at the end of a week that was entered deliberately rather than fallen into. That was navigated with the clarity received rather than the anxiety produced. That was walked through with the strength received rather than the strength depleted. That was received as formation rather than only managed as demand. That person on Friday will be slightly different from the person entering Monday today. Not dramatically, the formation is incremental, but real. 1 week further into the life of someone who is being shaped by the weeks they enter with God, rather than by the weeks that shape them without His input. Your word declares in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 16, that though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day, day by day. This Monday is one of the days. The renewal that will have happened by Friday is the renewal of this Monday morning prayer, received and practiced and returned to through 5 days of ordinary demanding life. That renewal is worth the week, every week. Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. That is the declaration this Monday begins from. Not from the week's agenda, from the God who leads into the agenda, not from the pressure that is already forming before the week has officially started, from the clarity and strength received in this prayer before the pressure had a chance to establish itself as the operating center. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, lead my mind with clarity and strength today. I step into this week from you, not from the pressure. Return to that at every junction the week presents. The compass is set. The foundation is established. The step was deliberate. And the God who is already at every destination this week will produce is waiting at each one. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. We are here every day, stepping before falling, setting the direction before the week redirects it. Share this prayer with someone who starts every Monday already behind the pace. Not because you have the solution for their week, because you know the one who leads through it. May the Lord lead your mind this week with a clarity that sees through the week's noise to what is actually true, and a strength that holds through every day the week requires it. May the step taken in this Monday morning prayer be the one that sets the direction for all the steps that follow. May the open hands that received this prayer receive everything the week has prepared that the gripping hands would have missed. And may you arrive at Friday with the quiet evidence of someone who was led, not because the week was easy, because the leader was faithful. In Jesus' name, amen.